Hey, welcome back. So today we are going to be talking about vaginal yeast infections. Yes, these absolutely suck. So either you're here today because maybe you've had one in the past, or you just want some more information about them, or maybe you're actually suffering from one right now. And if you are, I am very sorry, because I know how horrible these can be. So we're going to talk about what you might be feeling if you have a vaginal yeast infection, why you might actually get a vaginal yeast infection, and what you can do to go ahead and help yourself if you are going through this. Okay, so what are the symptoms of having a vaginal yeast infection? A lot of women actually complain, or the most common symptom is having that vaginal itching and that vaginal burning. All right, so this is comes on pretty quick once you get a vaginal yeast infection. All right, you're gonna notice that you are non-constant itching. Once you start itching, you're gonna notice later you're gonna actually start having some burning, and that's because the yeast is actually gonna start causing some inflammation in the area, and then that's what's gonna cause the burning. Another complaint that is very common that you will probably have is you're going to have this kind of cottage cheese white vaginal discharge. I know the imagery is just ugh, but it is the truth. All right, that is the truth. That is exactly what it is going to look like. So just think of cottage cheese and it's white, and that's going to be coming out of the vaginal area, okay? And then some other symptoms you might have, if you are sexually active, you might notice that you are having some pain with sexual activity, or it's just burning a lot. You might also notice some redness in the vaginal area, which would be considered the vulva. So that's kind of like the lips of the vaginal area. You might notice some redness, tenderness. You might see that they're kind of swollen as well. Very rarely you might have some ulcerations. Okay, so first, before I explain more, I just want to tell you about the vaginal flora. So the vaginal flora is kind of mixed of tiny microbes, and these microbes keep each other in place and they keep them balanced. So if one is overgrowing, the other one is going to come in and balance that one out and bring it back down, okay? And what these do is they basically live in a symbiotic relationship, and they basically keep everyone in check. It's kind of like if you're in a household and one person is just being berserk, someone has to go and keep that person in check, right? And make them calm down, because if they don't, then everyone else is going to start going berserk, and it's going to cause just a whole lot of commotion. So if you can keep that one person in check, then everyone is happy, right? But what happens when you can't keep that one particular thing in check? It ends up just overgrowing and overgrowing and overgrowing. And sometimes things that can kind of mess us up are pretty simple factors. Maybe it's something with fluctuation in your menstrual cycle, because estrogen does play a big part in this. Or you might have just started a new contraceptive method, including birth control. So birth controls that have higher estrogen levels are actually known to kind of mess with this biome, the symbiotic biome of all these microorganisms that are just natural to the vaginal flora. But once you take that estrogen, it can mess with it a little bit and throw it a little bit off balance, and might cause you to have a vaginal yeast infection. So what are some other very common reasons for this? Is antibiotic treatment, okay? So this is actually the first time I ever got a yeast infection, and literally my mind was blown, because the doctor asked me, I had a sinus infection, and the doctor asked me, oh, are you prone to yeast infections? Should I give you something for it just in case you get it? And I was like, no, I've never had one of those before. And then, well, day 6 into my antibiotic treatment, I started getting that itching and that crazy vaginal discharge. Well, anyhow, why does this happen? Because antibiotics actually kill healthy bacteria that you have in your system. And when they kill those healthy bacteria, the organism that actually causes a yeast infection is called Candida. So that Candida will then actually overgrow, because it doesn't have this person anymore to keep it in check. So you have to be careful with them. If you are prone to getting, yeast infection with it, just make sure that you're aware of it. So when you start getting symptoms, then you can go ahead and seek help for this. Another reason that you could actually get a yeast infection is just plain old stress. So stress can just mess with your body completely and make things kind of go a little bit out of whack. And that including would be you getting a vaginal yeast infection. Yes, you're already stressed out and then you have a vaginal yeast infection. Let me know if that's actually ever happened to you before. And then something that I cannot stress enough, ladies, is please, please, please stop douching, okay? So douching can have products that actually take away good, healthy bacteria in your vaginal area and cause candida to overgrowth. So you're actually doing yourself a very big disservice. Vaginal area, or the vagina per se. You know what's really funny? Actually in medical school, if you say like vagina, it's like not a word you should be saying. You should always say vaginal area, which just doesn't make sense to me because you can say the penis like anytime and like you don't feel weird about it at all. But once you say vagina, it's like completely like, oh my God, you just said vagina. Like, can we just like make that normal? Like penis is normal. Anyhow, what I was trying to say is that the vagina is actually self-cleansing. So there's really like nothing else we have like that, okay? The vagina will self-cleanse itself out. Like that is amazing, right? The woman body is very complex. You know, like that's amazing. Like it literally cleans itself, okay? You do not need to put water up there or put anything up there, soap products, nothing up there, okay? You just don't do it. All right, and then just some other things that can also cause this would be just having regular sexual intercourse can throw the normal vaginal flora off in the system. And then of course, if you are suffering from multiple recurrent vaginal yeast infections, which would be more than 4 in a year, definitely go see your doctor because this can be associated with other problems, including diabetes or problems with your immune system. And at this time, once you've had 4, that is really considered a complicated infection and you're going to need more than just something that you can find at the pharmacy. All right, so I do want to actually talk about the treatments for this with you guys, but please remember that even though I am a medical doctor, I am not here to actually really give you any advice. This is purely for education. But my recommendation would be to actually see a doctor, especially if you've never had this in your life and you don't really know the exact symptoms of it. And if you go to the doctor, you can go ahead and take an easy pill that we can prescribe for you. And it's just a one-time pill, especially non-complicated infections. You just take this one pill. However, this pill is going to take up to 3 days to really get its bioavailability up in the system, which means that it takes 3 days to have its full effects in the body. So it might be that 3 days until you really start showing some progress, but a lot of women actually see this pretty fairly soon that their symptoms get better. And if you do go with taking the pill, then you might want to go ahead and ask for some outside vaginal cream that can help calm the irritation on the outside. All right. And then now let's go ahead and take a trip to Target or Target so we can take a look at the aisles there because I know how stressful it can be when you already have a vaginal yeast infection and then you have to go to the drugstore or Target or Walmart or wherever you prefer to go ahead and find something to treat this with. And then there's like so many different ones. Let's go. All right, so I just made it to Target and I'm going to go in here and show you guys what you can get if you do have a yeast infection. I know that sometimes you can go in here and be super overwhelmed because there's literally like a million products on the shelf. Anyhow, so I'm going to go and check and see what they have here and I will show you exactly what you could buy while you're in here. So hopefully when you do this, it'll be a quick in and out trip because I know that it can be embarrassing to do this, especially when people walk by you and you're sitting there staring for like 20 minutes. Well, let's go inside. All right, so I found the aisle with all of the medication that you can basically take if you have a yeast infection. We have the Monistat and then we have here the generic brand of the Monistat. All right, so let's take a look at the one-day Monistat. So here you can see that there's actually at the top, this one day actually has like this little egg piece that you put inside the applicator and then you use the applicator to put it up inside the vagina basically. And that egg contains all of the medicine. Now, the reason I do not like this one is because a lot of times people use this and a ton of the medication ends up coming right out. And either way, you're going to use this at night, but it can still come out. It can actually cause some clogging of some of the glands that you have in the vaginal area. So let's take a look over at the back of this here. And this shows that it has 1,200 milligrams of the meconazole. So that's going to be one dose. And then this also comes with a meconazole nitrate 2% cream that you can use on the outside of the vaginal area. Okay, so let's see what else that they have here. So it looks like they have the meconazole off-brand type next to it, which is a lot cheaper, $13.89. And then down below they have the Monistat 3-day. So this 3-day Monistat is actually one that I would more likely prefer someone to take rather than the 1-a-day, because you're going to be more likely to get the amount of medication you need. So this is 200 milligrams that you're going to take for 3 days in the applicator, and you're going to be taking this as night as well. And then this one also comes with that cream that you can put outside of the vaginal area. So that one's $12.99. And then we have the generic brand as well, 3-day treatment. And then here down below we have the Monistat 7-day. So this is the one I actually prefer for someone to take, because this application system is pretty easy. It's pretty much like taking or putting a tampon in. Actually, all these are like putting a tampon in. But if we flip this over, we have the Monistat is going to be 100 milligrams per application that you're going to use. And I like this because every day that you use this, not as much as the product is going to come out. And you just put this on in the nighttime and keep it in, and that helps keep it in. And this one also comes with the cream that you can use in the vaginal area as well. And then let's just take a look at the generic one. That's the meconazole 7. And okay, so this one, if we look at the active ingredients, also has 100 milligrams in each applicator. So pretty much the same exact medication, but a way cheaper price. So this is the one that I will actually get for us, and I'll show you guys when I get back home. Let's just take a look at the 3-day one. Okay, so that one had came with the cream as well, but the meconazole 7 didn't actually come with the cream that you can use on the outside. However, that's okay, because you can just use the cream it comes with to use on the outside of the vaginal area to help with some of the itching. Okay. All right, so let's see what else they have here. Okay, so they have some probiotic here, which is actually pretty good because that'll help you replenish your good bacteria that you have to help balance out the yeast. And then we have some boric acid vaginal suppositories. So that you can actually use as well to help treat your vaginal infections. So the boric acid, make sure that you're only using it vaginally. You should not be ingesting any boric acid per the mouth, because you could literally die from it. And if you need some Vagisil, let's just look at this and see what active ingredients it has. Looks like it just has an anesthetic in it, the benzocaines anesthetic. So that's just basically going to help you to relieve pain and numb the area. So likely will numb it from being itchy. All right, well, there we have it. Doesn't really look like they have actually that many products here. Oh, they actually have this one, the teoconazole. So that azole at the end, any of the azoles are going to be antifungal medications, and that's a 1-a-day course, so I don't really recommend that. It's just another azole compared to meconazole azole. All right, so I'm gonna go shopping for some other stuff, and I'll meet you back home. Okay, so I just want to show you how to use this one that I bought at Target. So let me give you a close-up view of it. So this is the one that I bought. Here is the information of the active ingredients. Let me show you what comes in it with directions. So especially if you've never done this before, I would say definitely read the directions. It'll give you a nice picture of how you can actually do this at home. All right, so here's the tube that it comes in, and here are the applicators. Please don't be scared of these applicators. They are super easy to use, and I'm going to show you exactly how. And when I was showing you in the video earlier how some of them come with an extra cream, Meconiazole cream, you don't actually need that. You can actually just use the cream in here and wipe it on the outside of the vaginal area. All right, so how you do this is you're gonna go ahead and put this like all the way down here, all the way down. And you just go ahead and take the cream, open it with the other side of the cap, put it in here like so. You can get a nice tight seal, okay? And you just go ahead and push the cream all the way down, all right? And you can go ahead and close this up, and then make sure you make it nice and tight. And then you basically put this up like a tampon, and you go ahead and release the cream, and it will all be coming out. There you go. So it's super easy. So please don't be scared of this. All right, guys, I had to go wash my hands, but I do recommend when you use these products that you do use a panty liner, because some of this medication is going to end up dripping out. And actually, when you use that really high dose, most of it is going to come out. And I believe that's why they make that medicine in such a higher dose. It's the 1200 milligrams versus this, which is 100 milligrams per dose each 7 days that you use it. So I believe that's really why, because a lot of it ends up coming out. But when you do use this, make sure you use it at night, because that's going to help the product actually stay in the vaginal area. Alrighty, so before we finish up and we talk about things you can do for prevention, please go ahead and like my video and subscribe to my channel if you do like what you're watching today. Alright, so what can you do for prevention of getting your yeast infections? Well, like we've talked about before, just to reiterate, be careful when you're taking your antibiotics. Let your doctor know if you've had yeast infections before from taking antibiotics. Please do not douche. And then some other things just to be aware of is be careful. If you are wearing really tight clothing all the time, that is not breathable, all right? So your body down there actually needs to breathe, okay? So be careful with really tight clothing. And then if you're using feminine products like pads or tampons, just stay away from the fragrance. I know it's like cute and pretty. I mean, even like I'm attracted to that because like it smells nice, but it's not good for the body, all right? And no one can actually like smell you when you have your period. I know it feels like it because you can smell yourself, but they can't. Maybe dogs can, because dogs do weird stuff like that. But anyhow, also some other things to remember is if you're going swimming, don't keep that wet, those wet clothes on, because that's going to cause a moist environment, and that moist environment can disrupt the flora as well. And some other things to note are, try to wear cotton underwear. That's like the best if you're just wearing cotton underwear. And try not to be soaking in hot tubs or really hot baths for a long time. And then be careful if you are taking baths, what you're putting in there. So like scented products in there or soaps can go ahead and get into that vaginal area as well and cause some, burning, inflammation, and then also change the nice little biome that you have, and that is normal. All right, guys, so thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. I hope this helps and you learned something today. Bye-bye.